contractor, another is promoter, landowner. So they have to appoint two different chartered accountants, same chartered accountant. But the form number 3, for purpose of withdrawal, they will be giving two different forms. Landowner will take land cost as his input cost, and based on that he will be withdrawing the money. As far as developer is concerned, construction cost only he can pay. If the bidder has taken the land cost as his input cost, which is wrong, and the chartered is certifying, then he is professionally doing something wrong, and he can be there can be disciplinary action against those chartered accountants. So you have to understand that if it is a landowner and bidder, there will be certificates and two different audits. Though the project is one. Then ongoing project we have already discussed. Right of duties of the allottee we have discussed. You have the right duties to make the timely payment, and rights are concerned. You can ensure the timely completion. You can form the association. All that can be done. Difference between agreement and renewal registration we have discussed. That's given on barter. There is a high court judgment. If something is given on the barter, in that case, he becomes an allowed. The High Court said, I don't have the right to citation. High Court said that agreement for sale, the consideration can be anything. It can be in the cash, that is check, or in the form of time, or in the form of service. Having given the service, having given certain barter, and you are saying that this is a commercial transaction that cannot happen. Once it is done, and he is considered to be the allotee, and therefore all the rights of the allottees are available. So then rights of the allottees terminated by the promoter. Yes, if the promoter is terminated, there is High Court judgment, which is a very disturbing judgment. That is of Vaidhi Akash. Based on that, there is a Goregaon Poor Coping Society. Then wherein it says, if the High Court has terminated only High Court has terminated the promoter by due process, in that case, those allottees who had took the flat with the erstwhile promoter will have to recover the money from erstwhile developer, and he will not be able to recover it from the new developer society. This way judgment has come. But now the appellate tribunal has made a distinction. Society is anywhere allowed to do the data registration, recover the money. Thereafter, the society in the general body terminates, and that means the very purpose of data gets defeated. So therefore, now the appellate tribunal has taken a different stand. So those things further will be double checked by the High Court and the Supreme Court. So we will have to wait for some more time. That is this problem. Okay. Okay.
Sir,
yeah.
As regards to barter, allotment to barter system.
Yeah.
Allotment to barter system.
Allotment to barter system.
As regards section.
क्यों इशू हो रहा है? बंद हो गया? नहीं रुक एक मिनट.
That you're making
क्यों हो रहा है? सर्वर ऐसा है. एक एक्सटर्नल डिस्प्ले क्या अभी HDMI कुछ हिला है क्या? वो डिस्प्ले से है ना उनके अपने का रिमोट.
Now the landowner gives the land for the purpose of development. I'm going to
दबा देता.
No, I am giving you the and thereafter you are giving the plot flash constructed. That is also barter.
ऐसे ही रख रहा हूँ फिर मैं इसको स्लाइड शेयर नहीं कर.
Okay. Now these are all commercial transactions. Wherever there is a consideration in, this is my view.
एक बार टेस्ट
Whenever there is a consideration in the form of cash, you have to
बट
give.
फुल स्क्रीन में नहीं हो रहा है
That cannot be given
हुआ
in,
था ना अरे
currency.
बट
It should be
वो
by
बटन दबा
account
दबा के
base.
नहीं हो रहा है ना
But
मेरा बीच में
that provision of the
नहीं है
income tax cannot bar or will not bar the provisions of the Contract Act and other business transactions. Okay, so these are the number of projects we have. The Central Advisory Council for 1 year, that we can, because of the COVID, third time, and they have decided to, set up, further implement the RERA and make it cost. I will just deal with few of the Supreme Court judgments very quickly. Of course, challenging the process of the RERA, because it was, actually challenge to their business, and it was a RERA came in such a way that the authority will take over their challenge, including 70-30 provision, including register. The central government said that the different way High Court should complete the order should get all things transferred to Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court is very smart. They said, we will not do it. Bombay High Court, believe me, Bombay High Court in 15 days. In 15 days, having continuous hearing, said the seriousness in which Supreme Court had, because otherwise you know how the judiciary functions. One. And that is how immediately after the petition was transferred to High Court. On 6th December 2027. This is not for 92 Sections Act. So constitutional validity is upheld. As Aditya said, Supreme Court has now directed to the central government to come out with the uniform buyers builders agreement across India. And also, if there is any dilution in the rules, that also done by the state government, it should be applied. Forum for People's decided not to go with Modi, but to have her own law. And the Supreme Court said nothing to do. The law which has been done by the Parliament cannot be diluted like this, and the state their own law. So that was the only one state which was not adhering to the RERA. As said, without commencement certificate, the project becomes completion certificate, the project becomes ongoing, and it has to be registered and it will have a return. Some confusion, adjudicating officer and now settled, the adjudicating officer will only do compensation. RERA will decide all other things. There was a appeal by the promoters saying that if promoter wants to make appeal, whatever amount directed by the RERA or adjudicating of the 100% of this should be other than penalty. Penalty can be 30%. However, if the allottee has paid, let us say 2 crore, has accrued 1 crore, and RERA has granted 3 crore refund, then if he wants to appeal that order, in the appellate tribunal, and this is if the allottee company is rejected, and he goes in the appeal, nothing more. So this is so law of equality is not there. This was the grievances of the promoters. So you are on the two pedestal, and therefore you will be unequal only. Unequals cannot be made as equal, and the are already there. So therefore, the Supreme Court has said, and now promoters are, if the RERA gives the order, they have to execute it or they have to auction their property and pay them. Whether a single member can decide, because Maharashtra or many RERA. So somebody challenged that no, RERA consists of 3 people, so everybody simultaneously. But Supreme Court said no, it can be heard. Execution of order, as Arvind has said, it has now been settled that RERA, appellate tribunal, collector, absolutely there is no problem. These are the various issues. I am not going same judgment, please in detail. 5 issues were discussed. Supreme Court urban, pioneer urban land and infrastructure limited. In conflict of IBC and RERA or RERA and consumer court, then court will have its own this one. Sorry, this is related to home buyers, whether they are the financial creditor or secured creditor. Supreme Court said yes, they are the or secured creditor. Therefore, Consumer Protection Act, RERA, and but court will have an overriding. Appellate tribunal, it was held. Appellate had not registered the project. The area was 382 square meter, whereas number of units were 12. Now, contrary judgments by the same, panel. So there was a contrary decision, and now that matter is in the Supreme High Court. Bombay High Court, in the case of Microtech, has been held. Up to 40th floor, there was a OC prior to the RERA registration. First RERA registration, the High Court Microtech case said it is not required because there is a part OC as good as project completed. Only after 41st floor onwards, the RERA they have registered the project. Lavasa Corporation, in the case of $2 crore का flat, but किया दिया lease और पैसा भी भर under construction. Then they went to RERA saying that we want interest for the deal. The RERA said you don't have a jurisdiction. It is not a ownership. It's a lease. RERA refused. But Madam had to appellate tribunal. Appellate tribunal said nothing. It is a long lease and considered as a ownership, and therefore RERA is applicable. Madam went to High Court. High Court also confirmed the appellate tribunal. Appellate to industrial. Now Mahara has said industrial does not fall in the RERA because it is only commercial and but industrial word is not there, so RERA does not come under it. But Tamil Nadu Appellate Tribunal has said that yes, industrial also covered under RERA. Now this is in the Appellate Tribunal. We will get the judgment. In the case of Sea Princess, the promoter, what he did, he took the completion certificate of the architect, and based on his completion certificate, BMC gave the OC, but projects were incomplete. And RERA said, nothing to do. If the common authority has given OC, nothing to do with me. So I will not hear your complaint that incomplete project. Then, Madam went to Appellate Tribunal picks up one court commission, and court commission means joint inspection was done. In the joint inspection, that project was incomplete. But completion certificate was given by architect, OC was granted. Okay. So Appellate Tribunal said it is illegal, so the interest should be paid for delay. Further, the Appellate Tribunal said that disciplinary action should be taken against the architect for doing wrong. And Ajay Mehta said, how can our engineers give wrong certificate? Disciplinary action was taken against those engineers. And so parallelly, architect, council of architecture, there is a disciplinary action going on. Now the distance is continuing. Second appeal, question of law. In the second appeal, only question of law will be taken, facts will not be taken. Jain Khan and Maharera, where the unregistered project, Maharera was not hearing the complaint. They were only saying you give us the information based. But went to High Court said nothing to you. Next is in the case of Perry, it has nothing to do with the RERA, but it has to do with the RTA. But in that, the Supreme Court passed an order that the approved plan should be put even at the site. And based on that judgment, all the RERA that the approved plan also should be kept in the areas. So these are the various things where not connected with RERA, but Supreme Court and High Courts have been making a passing remark and making the RERA, strengthening it. Similarly, fortune infrastructure, this had passed number of decisions that within 3 years, the project should be considered to be completed. It is a reasonable time. Appellate tribunal, the promoter had challenged the order of refund principal with the interest adjudicating officer due to delay in the handing over. This has been upheld, saying that the RERA cannot rewrite the clause of the agreement, and this is also it has a retroactive effect. You had in the agreement by 2015. In 2017, RERA has but High Court and Supreme Court said you will have to give though the agreement is executed prior to. These are the other judgments. I request you. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you. Now over to
Ventilation.
session is going well. You are able to get some takeaway from today's session. So then give a clap to James. Yeah, you have come in last number.
हाँ, एक मिनट।
Now he will be taking latest amendments. Compliance part. That is form number 3 and 5, which requires to be given by chartered accountant. And both the certificates have to be form number 3 if somebody is issued for the purpose of withdrawal. Then the same person form number 5 it is an annual statement of. So they are the two different things. Yeah.
Okay. So हाँ कंटिन्यू ना आदित्य कंटिन्यू चल रहा है सही
Basically, we are going to deal with the recent amendments. That is the amendments carried out by 2020. और ये जो amendments है वो 22 दिसंबर 2021 से आए। और जो भी forms issue होंगे, जो भी certificates issue होंगे, even for labs project, chartered accountants are not giving, but that has to be uploaded in the new format. And how RERA authority will know? Based on the date of signing, because we have restrictions of UDIN also. So here it is very important that we should be aware of the new format, and the new format, that is, they are asking in detail from form 3 as well as form 5. So they have increased form 5 तो हम लोग कर ही रहे थे, but form 3 का जो scope है वो उन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा increase कर दिया. So that we will see what are the amendments. Start with the new forms. First, we have form 1, that is the architect certificate. So I will just talk about the amendments with respect to these certificates, and we will cover form 3 and form 5 in detail. So form 1 relates to architect certificate, form 2 engineer certificate, then form 2A, that is quality assurance. So architect or engineer form 1 and 2 is required at the time of registration and at the time of subsequent withdrawal. So this is mandated by the act, that is section 4(2)(LD. उसके proviso में उन्होंने लिखा है only after obtaining these two, rather 1, 2 and 3, you will be able to withdraw from the 70% that is designated RERA bank account. Form 2A is the quality assurance certificate. Next is form 3, which is to be issued by the chartered accountant. ये भी registration के टाइम पे लगेगा और subsequent withdrawal के टाइम. Form 4, this यहाँ पे जो भी 4 है लेकिन ये at the end आता है जब project complete होता है, once we obtain the OC, and there is certain amendments in this form also. Wherein why we need to understand these amendments, because as a form 3 or form 5 we deal, because unless and until we obtain form 1 and 2 we cannot issue the form 3. Next is form 5. इसको पहले स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर सर्टिफिकेट बोलते थे, लेकिन अभी रिसेंट अमेंडमेंट है वो हम लोग देखेंगे. तो ये ऑडिट सर्टिफिकेट है. दिस इज द ऑडिट ऑफ द बैंक अकाउंट, दैट इज द डेजिग्नेटेड बैंक अकाउंट. तो यहाँ पे ये जो फॉर्म है फॉर्म 5 is the important form in this particular entire mechanism, क्योंकि इस फॉर्म में the chartered accountant is having the authority to comment upon the work or discrepancy of form 1 and 2 also. This has not yet happened till date that we have been given the authority to comment on any discrepancy we observe in the work of architect and engineer also. Coming on to list of amendments, let us understand the hierarchy. MHARERA General Regulations 2017, the principal regulations. Later on, we had some minute amendments in case of General Amendments Regulation 2017. Then we have a major amendment in second amendment, that is, they came out with the amended Form 3, where they mentioned they changed the definition of land cost as per ASR value, that we will see in detail in case of forms. And now the current regulation is MHARERA General Amendment Regulations, where they changed all the forms, right from form 1 to form 5. All the forms are being changed and major details are being changed in this form. So there a complete perspective looking towards the signing of these forms have changed. Now let us see few amendments before the forms. These are very important amendments consisting regulation number 3, 3A and 4. तो पहला अमेंडमेंट जो है वो रेगुलेशन 3 में है. अब रेगुलेशन 3 में अर्लियर पोजीशन क्या था? the certificate issued by project architect in form 4 to be issued on completion of each of the building or wing of the real estate project. So this was the position. अगर मेरा एक प्रोजेक्ट में मैंने 4 बिल्डिंग्स रजिस्टर किए, हर एक का डेट ऑफ कंप्लीशन अलग है, बट दे आर विदिन द रेरा प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीशन डेट. So हर प्रोजेक्ट, हर बिल्डिंग के लिए I had to issue, I mean to say the architect had to issue a separate form 1. But now with the amended position, this has been changed, and the architect is having the option to issue the certificate for the registered real estate project. तो जिसका हमारे पास नंबर है, the project का एक फॉर्म दे सकते. Somewhere this amendment, see, he is having the liberty, but as a chartered accountant, we should prefer for having a separate certificate in case of rehab building and sale building, because as a CA we need to comment upon the rehab costs and sale building separately. So as far as possible, these certificates should be separate. I mean to say they should mention the separate date of separate completion details and all other details in their form building wise. Regulation number 3 है. Earlier, form 2 है. You all know that it is a quality assurance. तो ये quality assurance developer को हर quarter में एक certificate लेना है, which many developers were not even complying, and some to the extent engineer were also hesitant कि वही चीज बार-बार क्यों देना. Because suppose I am using a great quality of a material, I will use it throughout the project. So now RERA has realized that instead of financial every quarter, now this certificate needs to be submitted only once at the end of every financial year. तो एक ही certificate पूरे साल के लिए अपने को लेना, and there is a major amendment also in this particular certificate. Now the regulation 4, which is of interest for us, that is the earlier position was the annual report, which is popularly called as Form 5. अब ये जो Form 5 है, ये issue करने वाला chartered accountant, उसको हम लोग statutory auditor, but people were getting confused. अब statutory auditor means the audit required by a particular statute. And in Companies Act, we have different types of auditors, that is statutory auditor and tax. तो अगर ऐसे जरूरी नहीं है कि tax auditor possess the necessary knowledge of certification under RERA. So this was creating confusion. In partnership firms, we don't have a separate term called as statutory auditor. We have tax auditor. So this was creating confusion. To do, they have amended the term itself, and now it will be called as annual audit because it is annual report on statement. So यहाँ पे अभी उसको statutory auditor ना बोल के उसको annual auditor. So a project can have a separate RERA auditor. It is not required that the statutory auditor of the company should sign the Form 5. So this has been very well cleared, and we can have a separate annual auditor for RERA. Now coming on to the new form, that is Form 1, we will see the recent amendment. The first amendment is the plot details, latitude, longitude, which he had to mention in his subject clause. He deleted it. Now we don't have to mention this in his certificate. He will just mention that this certificate is for this project, registration number so and so, and developed by the promoter. तो अब ये details यहाँ से delete कर दिया. News means northeast, west, south boundary, but still it is required for registration. Ultimately, we have to obtain that details from him only. because GPS coordinates देने पड़ते हैं, latitude and longitude, वो हम लोग को उसके सर्टिफिकेट से ही मिलते हैं, बट उसको अभी ये सर्टिफिकेट में मेंशन करना जरूरत नहीं है. नेक्स्ट important thing is certificate can be issued for the entire layout instead of building wise. एक अब ये चेंज हो गया कि लेआउट ऑप्शन दे दिया, but again as I say we need certain building wise details also, so it is preferable wherein the convenience is there. We have our same building है, so you obtain the details in the certificate. Next is we have to mention who are the technical consultant कौन है, वो details अब उसको देने का जरूरत नहीं. And these three details are common for Form 1, Form 2, Form 2A, Form 4A. All the certificates, these three details These recent amendments are common for all these certificates. Now, coming to the certificate specific amendment, if you have seen, we had to give number of basements, podiums, plinth, and slabs of superstructure. ये अब देने का जरूरत है. ये only the slab or the podiums. तो नंबर लेकिन ये जो सारी डिटेल्स उसके So ultimately we have to obtain those details from either the developer through the management representation letter or from the architect. Now here counter signature of thing is being added in all the certificates. They are not only asking the certificate of the professional, but it is only valid when it is agreed and signed by the promoter. So we have to obtain the signature of the promoter before that certificate on the portal. So it should be, we have to be careful that without uploading the agreed and signed by promoter, because many times I've seen that the updation part is also been seen. ये सर्टिफिकेट तो मैंने एग्री नहीं किया that they have added counter signature of the promoter. Coming to form 2, see again these three details are common. Now the important part, you all know that engineer certifies the estimated cost and the actual cost. In estimated cost, they have changed that line. What they have done is estimated cost of civil, MEP, allied works, internal and external works as per specification mentioned in the agreement. Or they have added this specification that I don't know what is mentioned in the agreement of sale, and they are ultimately certificate to the agreement for sale. तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा ना, जो भी स्पेसिफिकेशन उसमें का ही कॉस्ट आना चाहिए, उसके सर्टिफिकेट का ही एस्टिमेटेड कॉस्ट देना चाहिए. And if you will say if it is no specifications are mentioned, because small developers they generally don't do, then in that case it should be as per the industry standard. हर एक इंडस्ट्री का कोई स्टैंडर्ड होता है मटेरियल्स का, below that quality he cannot use. So in that case he has to certify based on the industry standards. Then further moving on to actual cost. Yes sir.
Amenities भी तो हमने की एक ही that amenities have been how much amenities are remaining pending.
You have to consider the estimated cost of that also, internal and external development costs. Table B in form 2. So that cost is also very well taken care of. He has to give separate tables. Table A deals with the building and table B deals with the internal and external development. So in that we have community building. Coming to actual cost incurred to be on the basis of input material, services used and the cost of these items. पहले क्या लाइन था? Estimated cost, actual cost should be based on the estimated cost. So now they have specifically mentioned that means what they do, they take the base of the form 3 and they give the cost that in the form 2 certificate. We are not at risk. We can take both the costs are same and we have on the books of account, but it will be an issue for him because now in form 3 the position is totally changed. Why they are asking the record to be maintained by the engineer is now the comparison will be between the actual cost by CA and actual cost by engineer. That is a major change we have seen in form 3 that we will see later. Next is complete project. See this line again and again. They have added certain line that is as complete project as per the drawings and specification mentioned there. Wherein change the same line in agreement of sale for form 1 and also form. Cannot say that I don't know what is applicable in agreement for sale. We have a model agreement. So in that case, if he is mentioning in annexure, then he has to certify as per that annexure whatever cost of those items or those specifications is there, he has to include. Now, amendment in cost incurred or due to be incurred due to deviation in quantity required or escalation of cost should of the project, and if subsequent amendments are there in any deviation in quantity, then he has to time change the estimation in his project, and any change in estimation cost needs to be updated on finance. Estimated cost cannot be changed in normal update. It can be changed only after paying 5,000. Forward, any deviation in material used to local authority license number is this was a standard requirement. He needs to mention. अगर आपने ना इंजीनियर सर्टिफिकेट में टेबल सी देखा होगा उसको कंसीडर करना जो भी आएंगे प्रोजेक्ट के टाइम अब उसमें ना हेडिंग में this they have added this word deleted items. What they used to do जब डेवलपर ने इनिशियली उसको एस्टिमेट दिया the quality or the grade if he has changed and the material cost is been there is a subsequent change, he has deleted certain materials or certain items, engineer used to consider the old deleted that. So now you have to delete that from your certificate also. You have to consider those deleted items in table C. That is a major amendment in his certificate. Again, counter signature, he also has to obtain the signature of the promoter. Coming to form 2A, plot details, this has been deleted. It should be issued yearly. Material wise details. Now, the heading, I need to say the line for the materials is all services used in this particular project are as per the standards. And then he has to give सीमेंट क्या है क्वालिटी इसका ये मटेरियल का क्या है वो पूरा ग्रेडिंग क्वालिटी देना पड़ता है लेकिन अब he has to comment upon all the items. One more thing added is it should be as per the annexure of agreement for sale. See again I have linked this to agreement for sale and if no specification is there then he has to certify it as per industry standards. So this is a small certificate but it will have a great impact once the project starts getting completed and defect liability period starts. Now the engineers can't go away with that. Yes, it is good quality, and later on we are facing the problem. So such things should not happen. That is the reason this certificate. Now the certificate of interest, that is form 3. सब्जेक्ट क्लॉज था वो डिलीट कर दिया चेंज कर दिया अपने में सब्जेक्ट क्लॉज नहीं था वो ऐड कर दिया the line of the subject clause we will take the form in detail just I'm showing you the amendments subject clause what we are certifying of the project ये word ऐड कर दिया financial progress so that means we are certifying the financial progress, we are certifying the actual cost, what is the project progress as on date, we are certifying the QPR. तो यहाँ पे ये सारा details को उन्होंने summarize करके इसका word डाल दिया financial progress. And next thing, in the first line, after we are addressed to the authority that I have certified, the certificate will be used for RERA, issued for RERA compliance. Now, what is RERA compliance? At the time of registration, at the time of withdrawal, at the time of QPR. So this is called as RERA compliance, and I am certifying this certificate for the purpose of RERA compliance. What changes they have done? They have introduced 7 tables. पहले जो था उसमें सिर्फ एक टेबल था और उसमें एस्टिमेटेड और एक्चुअल के कॉलम थे. अब उन्होंने 7 tables इंट्रोड्यूस की. So the work is increased, accordingly the fees. Okay, so what we are certifying? We are certifying along with cost, we are certifying deposit and utilization. ये रोल सिर्फ फॉर्म 5 ऑडिटर का था. Clarification in 2017, they had clarified that we do not expect the end use certification from the chartered accountant. Which chartered accountant issuing form 3 or form 5? But it was assumed that it is form 3. So we never talked about end use utilization, but now we are talking about utilization, deposit and utilization. Whatever working was done earlier, we have to do some reworking and we have to include some other options in our certificate. Again, they are expecting that we should, after noting the observations in the bottom table given in the certificate, the promoter will give sign to us that he has agreed to that. If we are pointing some issues in that project, so he will, without any hesitation, they are expecting that he will sign. Actually, it should be like tax audit, where he has, if he is rejecting, then he has to give the reason why he is rejecting that receipt. So, since it is offline, we don't have any option, and the only option to safeguard our work is to obtain the letter of engagement, to obtain the NOC of the previous chartered accountant, because most of the projects so all the labs project will require this certificate. Tables, the first table they have introduced, they have separated the tables, estimated cost and actual cost. And why? There is a logical reason behind this that we will see. Table A, estimated cost of the project, separate table for estimated cost. It has to be given at the time of registration and it is subject to change. But whenever there is change in the estimated cost, it should be changed on the website also. Only estimated cost of construction by engineer to be mentioned. That is the reason changed. The separate table is क्योंकि इस फॉर्म में, इस टेबल में सिर्फ इंजीनियर कॉस्ट ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन एस्टिमेटेड पार्ट आई बस. अर्लियर पोजीशन था कि एस्टिमेटेड कॉस्ट ऑफ इंजीनियर और एक्चुअल कॉस्ट सर्टिफाइड बाय सीए वी वर कंपेयरिंग, बट इट विल डेफिनेटली every time because we are certifying actual position, so somewhere it was not serving the purpose. So now we have to mention estimated cost of construction of engineer in our certificate. This provision for cost incurred, जो भी additional items engineer का जो cost वो देगा form 2 में, we have to include that cost in our form also. Pass-through charges on indirect taxes to be excluded. Whatever pass-through charges promoter is collecting on behalf of any authority needs to be excluded. Now you will talk about GST. If he is taking the credit, it is not allowed. If he is paying it from the own pocket, because 5% and 1% is there, so ITC becomes the cost of the project because he is not allowed to adjust that amount against the liability. Can be revised through correction application. That is correction application. You can change the estimated cost by paying 5,000. Yes. एक तो पैरा है हर एक फॉर्म में, हर पॉइंट में पैरा पैरा दिया है. अब उसमें एक छोटा सा चेंज कर दिया जो बहुत जनों ने नोटिस की. पहले वो लोग एक्चुअल कॉस्ट ऑफ द मशीनरी और इक्विपमेंट, now after the change position they are asking the absorbed cost of machinery only relation to that project. So you can include the entire capital expenditure of that project of that machinery for that project. So you have to work and take out the estimated absorption cost.
Only depreciation.
A person giving an income higher, we can take the invoice for this particular project. And in case of if he is having the ownership, then we have to somehow depend on the promoter for the calculation. We can take the management representation for how much time it is. It is online. There are two options. Is it a typographical error or considering in order? Can upload and what is the reason of the change? In case of BC rules, FSI 4 floors are increased, so there might be change in the estimated cost of the construction. So वो जो भी है, next is table B, actual cost of the project. See, many of you say that are we certifying the estimated cost? Yes, we are allowed. Unless and until forecast, we can certify that. But here, for estimated cost of construction, we are dependent on the form 2, 620, using the work of auditors. And for other costs, we will be dependent on the management representation. Prosecuted for the estimated cost, even developer can't predict. So here only they are responsible in this certificate for actual cost. Table B, separate table for actual cost. Now here, the reason behind separating that is now in table B, they are asking the comparison between the cost of engineer, sorry, actual cost of engineer and actual cost of. मतलब अगर 100 का बिलिंग हुआ है बुक्स में, क्या ही यहाँ पे है? Now it is comparable that yes, but still now the engineers are not working their cost as a base, but we are safer because we have verified it from the books. It is there. They should be having calculation that yes, whatever material are used, because it can never happen at the point of time. 100% of billing is done and 100% of material. There is not. So here, this position is changed. Hence, only estimated cost in table A, and here the comparison table. Here we have to mention that cost and the cost certified by chartered accountants. Provision for actual, तो वहाँ पे estimated आ गया additional के लिए और यहाँ पे actual. Pass through charges excluded. Again, actual absorbed cost of machinery to be included. Statement for calculation of receivables. First of all, this table is never applicable to new project.
Whether there is a link between actual payment and actual cost.
Okay. See, whatever cost in actual cost will come, it should be as per the definition of incurred costs. What they have clarified is whenever you receive a product or service and service, you can include that cost, but you cannot include the advance payment. That is not supply. That cannot be taken as a cost. It is very well. Whatever we are going to deal with is the profit. Of your expenses है, whatever bills we have as on date, the withdrawal aspect is being taken care. Yes. Percentage basis, percentage completion is calculated for us is on the basis of actual cost only.
इसमें क्या होता है बिल बुक कर देता है पेमेंट होता नहीं है विड्रॉ करने का परमिशन तो उसको मिलता है
ना रोल है कि बिल देखना है, वो कब पेमेंट कर रहा है, 1 साल 2 साल नहीं कर रहा है, वो अपना लुकआउट नहीं। सी अवर बेसिक कंसर्न इज 70% का अमाउंट जाना चाहिए सप्लाई, बस वो देन वी आर इन द पिक्चर। अगर वो सप्लायर को नहीं दे रहा, रेरा इज नॉट फॉर द, तो अगर वो 2 साल भी नहीं दे, दैट इज द लुकआउट ऑफ सप्लायर एंड डेवलपर। उसको नहीं दिया ना, मतलब कस्टमर का पैसा तो नहीं यूज हुआ। That is नहीं कर सकता। See, he has to complete the project with 70% amount. If he is using more, it is well and good. Table C, statement for calculation of receivables. Yes, as I said, this table is not applicable for new project. But now उसमें ना एक rules amendment नहीं deals with the ongoing project, and somehow I feel that this table can never be applied to new project. इन्वेंटरी का टोटल अमाउंट से कंसीडरेशन और कॉस्ट जो बचा है मेरा प्रोजेक्ट, वो मुझे वायबल है कि नहीं, अगर नहीं है तो मुझे फर्दर एलॉटीज का प्रोजेक्ट अमाउंट प्रोटेक्शन देना, hence that 100% amount should be deposited. See in the form also 70%, but in this table of sold inventory they ask received amount 100% amount. So somewhere that thing is not comparable, but still why they require is to match that this sold inventory to the disclosure by the promoter. So they want कि एक CA ने certify करना चाहिए कि कितना project में inventory, but they have gone beyond that. They are even asking from a chartered accountant to certify the mobile number. The CA, whatever he will mention in his certificate, because it is completely digitally signed. So there he will mention कि ये फ्लैग इस आदमी को सेल किया, तो उसका वहां पे एक टेबल ग्राफ आता है और उसमें अनसोल्ड और सोल्ड का एक प्रॉपर रिप्रेजेंटेशन होता है। तो अगर आप कर्सर लेके जाओगे तो उसमें जो भी आदमी है उसका फर्स्ट 2 लेटर्स नाम का और सरनेम का लास्ट लेटर दिखता है, बाकी के हैश इट इज हियर, एंड दैट इज टेकन फ्रॉम द सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ सी। तो अगर कैंसिलेशन हुआ, सीए ने बाद में चेंज कर दिया फ्लैग का, अभी बायर वो, because we are still at a better position in terms of details which they are asking you. Sold inventory, unsold inventory, pass-through charges should not be considered in this unit consideration. And one more thing, in case of unsold inventory, the carpet area should be RERA carpet only. XR value, the conversion of RERA carpet and built-up is in that case is 1.1 in case of RERA carpet is considered. So please take care of that. So table D comparison, again this table is applicable only for ongoing projects, but now we have to comment on this in the new projects also. Only there is a point number 5 wherein whether we have to check the 70% or 100% criteria, that needs to compulsory for new project, it is 70%. Because no one at the start of the project can tell RR value में से हमेशा loss नहीं दिखेगा, because RR value when you are comparing estimated cost, it won't give you a true picture. This form is download unless it goes for public inspection. This is only for information purpose. No one is going to see whether it is a loss-making project or not. Our value can never give you a true picture. Total estimated receivables 70%, 100% check only for ongoing projects and not 100% projects. Ongoing projects are those projects come under section 3, wherein completion certificate is not being given to the project at the commencement. The inception of the RERA, those projects are new. साल पहले शुरू हुआ है उसको आप ऑनगोइंग नहीं बोल सकते ऑनगोइंग का डेफिनेशन
अपडेट किया था उसमें ये सब हटा दिए गए हैं अमेंडमेंट
अमेंडमेंट पिछले साल का अमेंडमेंट
ऑफिस से आया था उसमें ये
अभी तक एक तो पहला वो 2019 में और अभी ये कंप्लीटली चेंज हो गया और जो पहले आया था उसमें चेंज किया और जो एक्सपेंसेस था वो पहले ऑन साइट और ऑफ साइट लिखा था तो अभी वो सारे एक्सपेंडिचर इन रिलेशन टू द प्रोजेक्ट इतना माइन्यूट चेंजेस किए थे Stably designated bank account details. They are expecting that you have to mention actual amount till date from the start of the bank account of the RERA designated bank account to till date. This closing balance should always match with the bank statement. And if you are considering that a developer ने तो दूसरा पैसा भी ले लिया, give a reason. That this much amount has been verified. So finance promoter body objected to this, but still now the position remains the same. We have to comment. We are no way in relation to the estimated. ये पूरे hypothetical figures at the start of the project they are asking estimated, proposed and indicative. Now suppose that star mark is given, but no clarification is given by star mark is considered for the proposed and indicative according to me. What they are trying to understand that it's viable. But if you will see the point number 1, fine. Point number 2, total borrowed funds secured and unsecured they are asking. Refer to point number 4, customer receipts used for goods. A form 3 chartered accountant start of the registration he certify कर रहा है RR values. How he can give you the customer receipts used for the project estimation. If you are comparing the open market value, then it's fine. तो पहले दिन मुझे वो कंपेयर करोगे total funds for project and estimated cost it will show as negative. The cost is not recoverable from RR. How can recover the RR cost from the RR? But again, this is estimated. They are asking estimates at the time of every certificate and check to actual. Own fund जो है capital दिख रहा है promoter ने कितना लगाया वो देखो borrowed funds unsecured है उसका अभी तक कितना withdraw किया है only that drawdown till date that needs to be mentioned that needs to be equal particular and one they are asking total borrowed unsecured because as per rules they have mentioned that money borrowed for construction from NBFC, registered money lenders, etc. And in form, if you will see, they have mentioned that money borrowed, other money borrowed for construction. So they are including unsecured loans also. That means you can take the loan from unsecured sources, and I can include the interest. Or any communication relating to the project, they have inserted any comments or observations, and this is the reason we need to check the financial health of that project So you should have certain comments. See, developers are they are changing bank accounts. They have certain exceptions. So I have listed certain exceptions. Any exceptions in land cost you observe. Taken certain stand of particular inclusion of the cost that needs to be mentioned. In bank account operations, sold and unsold inventory, pass-through charges is included in unit consideration. Deposit and utilization of customer receipts, if any discrepancy is there. Other exceptions, any kind of exception for the inference on which you have issued this certificate that needs to be mentioned in this particular. Of that, because this project is spread over a period of. See, I won't say that at the start only you mention all the exceptions. It is not possible. But during the project, you will understand the capability of promoter to complete. Somewhere we understand from the basis of his spending that how he is spending or what cost is there. Change our comments accordingly. If you will read the guidance of the central book, they have mentioned that even if you observe any discrepancy, be corrected, then also you have to mention. So somewhere you need to be cautious that while issuing you have exceptions or observations. You observe in this.
This is a very good opportunity. Because now it is a public document. The award is as it is, as the project gets. Opponent, architect. So therefore, we a central council member has already said, कुछ ना कुछ तो लोचा करते ही, and we cannot be scapegoat on that. You chartered accountants have gone behind the bar, even today also they are behind the bar for the crime that they have not done. The crime done by the promoter, but for their crime done by the promoter and chartered accountants have gone behind the bar. So that chartered accountant MP has taken. The caution has been given to many chartered accountants. So I think we need to be more careful. And then accordingly do the legal. Our chairman of WRC, we are going to come out. That is study book, and maybe in another month's time we should be out with the study guidance one. So please. And now these certificates also, you will not be able to change. It was not required to be submitted to the bank. Correct. So now that these certificates should be preserved by the bank also. And under RTI, also uploaded, I think, on the website also. On quarterly. Form number 3 is not uploaded.
No, it has to be uploaded. First step, then only we have to upload it.
Correct. Okay.
So form 5.
Form 3 not necessary to upload every quarter. No, even limit is the limit is
No, if they have clarified, recently we have an order. Even to the banks, we have to submit only when the limit is exhausted. Until that time, the developer has to submit a letter that we are withdrawing in tranches. And he has to give the dates. So if some particular person is having a 25 crores limit, until the time withdrawal exceeds 25 crores, you don't have to obtain a form.
So quarterly not.
Is also not active for quarterly updates. If you have seen that they are not sending yet the notices to the developers also. So expecting a separate portal, and even in that case, if quarterly system is to be done, then same certificate needs to be uploaded. Till the time limit is exhausted. I will take the land cost form. Subject clause certifying, yes. Form 5 annual report, these are just amendments. So Form 5 annual report, subject clause certifying deposit. Certifying deposit, this word is added. Earlier our role was restricted to utilization and withdrawal. Now this word is added that we have to certify the deposit also. And they have introduced 3 tables. Deposit. Next is 4 tables and 2 sub-tables are introduced in this particular form. Which are these 2 subtables? These have a great importance in case of lapse projects. These 2 subtables. Shortfall deposit to be provided because as per the act, there is mandated 70% requirement to be deposited in separate bank account. So if anything, even if 60% is there, then 10% will be the shortfall, and we need to report that in our certificate. This was not the position earlier. Date-wise details of excess withdrawals to be provided. That is one of the subtables. अब इसमें क्या होगा कि जो lapse project है, the lapse project have most of the time of registration. That is Form 3. So in that case, whatever withdrawals, once the limit is exhausted, whatever the withdrawals are there without any Form 3, those withdrawals are excess withdrawals. If any project approaches to you that you have to do the certification, you have to issue the Form 3 for today's date only. And in that case, you have to mention the details of the excess withdrawals in this table. So you have to mention the period of continuous default that in this particular table. Then date-wise details of non-utilization project. और लैंड कॉस्ट के लिए यूज नहीं किया तो वो भी एक सेपरेट टेबल में हम लोग को मेंशन करना है. सी if these 2 tables subtables are not interdependent on each other, there can be excess withdrawals but it can be used for the cost of construction and land. तो अगर ऐसे है तो वो ये सेकंड टेबल में नहीं आएगा. Non utilization, the limit is the withdrawal is in the limit but non utilization. Again, counter signature of the promoter is required. Let's come to table A, deposits. See here, total amount collected from, suppose for the year we have to report for that fiscal year and cumulative. Suppose total amount collected from allottees is 50. Percentage amount to be deposited as per act, they have given 70, but those ongoing projects it is 100. An amount to be deposited as per act, suppose 35. Total amount deposited in the designated is actual amount, that is 30. Percentage to be deposited in designated bank account is 60%. That means there is a shortfall of 10%, which amounts to 5. That needs to be reported in this particular table. So you have to mention cumulatively also. What is the outcome? See, excess deposit is fine, not an issue. It is better that he is depositing in separate bank account. So it can be negated. There is no issue. Shortfall, then there might be action against him in future. Penalties can be charged, and here the penalty, there is no quantification of penalty. It can go up to. We have seen that it is on the basis of cost. They have, to the certain extent, they have quantified. This type of slabs they have given. But here till now, we don't have such quantification of the penalty. Table B deals with the withdrawals. This table and Form 3 में हम लोग ने यही सेम टेबल देखा, लेकिन वहां पे से वो till date from the opening till date of the certificate needs to be mentioned. Here we have to give for that financial year also and also in this particular certificate. Have table D, that is comments. This was not there in earlier certificate format. We have comments and exception relating to deposit, utilization, and withdrawals need to be mentioned. And most important, they have been given by the can comment on any discrepancy in Form 1, 2, and 3. Other exceptions related to project can be mentioned. For completing Form 4, can we take Form 3?
Should that be facing as of now?
No,
Nothing, right?
no.
Nothing as of now, right?
No.
Just before you start, just before you start.
Now I'm starting.
Yeah, give me a minute. So, have you? Okay. Is it like a PDF?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But you'll have to move it from here. You can't, since it's not a PPT.
Okay.
So you'll have to speak from here and then accordingly.
Okay.
The first important thing is this certificate is being issued for ERA compliance. We have seen that. Estimated cost. You have land cost. That is the clarified position that value of land as ascertained from the annual statement of rates. Now here the issue is that if the land cost is higher than actual, I mean to say the estimated land cost is restricted to ASR. In rules, it is explained by way of an explanation. And the rules amended position is land cost में सिर्फ definition में लिखा है value of land as ascertained from the ASR. And other options are deleted in rules. But it still forms part of the regulations. So here you have to take the estimated cost as per ASR. If your actual cost incurred is higher, then why RERA has done this? Because अगर मैंने start of the project ही उसको सारा actual cost withdraw करने दे दिया, because land cost is higher, then he won't come back again. उसको land cost का limit मिल गया पूरा actual cost का, और वो withdraw करके उसने अपना land cost recover कर लिया. So he should be accountable to that. That is the reason here it is restricted to ASR, and he is having also 30% account. So he is having that liberty, and still here you have to mention the ASR value, and in actual cost the amount should be included as per the ASR value only, whatever incurred in the actual cost, and not the entire cost. That is the current position. Other costs they have given, registration charges, वो सारे के लिए अपने को separate दिया. However, this has been deleted in rules. But still, we have, as a CA, we have to look at the form specified by the regulation, and we have to stick to that. No more changes in estimated cost. I had explained under rehab scheme, we have to give a separate cost of the rehab building as certified by engineer. And so any borrowing specifically done for the rehab building will be included. Any interest on that will be included in the land cost. Yes, see here, absorbed cost attributable to this project. This was a change. This is an amended thing. Earlier it was actual cost. Now we have to include the absorbed cost. And any interest payable to financial, you don't have to include the principal repayment, because when you borrow the funds, it is automatically subsumed under the construction cost or land cost. So here you don't have to include it separately, the repayment, but only interest paid to these financial institutions. And you can see the word money borrowed for construction. So money borrowed for construction includes unsecured also. And one case was there, in that a judgment came that interest paid on compensation, interest paid on the allottee's money or to the buyer cannot be included as a project cost, because he cannot recover that money from other allottees' money. He has to bring it from his own sources. In the case of CCI projects, so that is an important stand. But however, Maharera had clarified in 2017 that you can claim that interest also. So, but in the case we have seen that they have mentioned that you cannot include. So accordingly, you can take a stand in this case. Actual cost incurred on the project, here also same, and just we have to include the cost incurred for construction of rehab and incurred expenditure for construction by CA. We have to compare that and include that in this certificate. No changes in this. Yeah. Statement for calculation of receivables from sales of the real estate project. It is given, and here I'm talking about this received amount. Here they are expecting 100% of the amount collected. If you will mention the 70% amount, then it won't match with the balance receivables. Because somewhere this thing should match, which will match in the balance sheet, right? कितना उससे बाकी है, तो इसके लिए ये ongoing के लिए बराबर था. लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर 100% मैंने लिख दिया, तो मैं certify नहीं कर रहा हूँ 100. But still, the line which I have a personal concern is this line. First is, I hereby certify that required proportion of money as specified in the Act collected from the allottees as indicated in table C. Required proportion is 70%. This line doesn't go with that. If I will mention 100, that proportion, that 100 % is not deposited in the separate bank account. It is only 70%. So here somewhere it is contradictory. If in case of ongoing project, it is quite acceptable. But here, this line doesn't go with the table. And you will say that this line was earlier than, no, it is also amended. This line is because we were not certifying the utilization and withdrawal aspect. And now we are certifying the utilization and withdrawal. So here you have to, this position is contradictory. Next is, I hereby sorry, I didn't get you. Yes, at the time of inception of that. No, basically, yeah, but ongoing, the definition is clear. So they cannot define that as ongoing. And here, see,
there is no definition of ongoing as on today. It is a continuous. The ongoing project registration has been discussed. That the ongoing means the project which has and the work of which is now not completed the project. So in every certificate it has to be included. %. So it is very clear in the some clarification. We'll make a.
yeah, we can say. Yes,
That is what I am saying. So you can make a table in yourself, and here you can play your
Basically, why I was saying ongoing, because in rule 4, this table is still for ongoing. They have mentioned specifically that it is ongoing project, then only those tables are applicable. And now they have deleted the word ongoing. अभी दोनों को देना. ये क्यों किया? क्योंकि ये अमेंडमेंट होने के पहले ही वो डिस्क्लोजर मांग रहे थे प्रमोटर से. नहीं, डिस्क्लोजर स्टार्ट से देना.
स्टार्टिंग से देना था. बीच में जो एक ऑपरेशन आया था उसमें सेल्स के रिलेटेड डेटा नहीं देना था ऑनगोइंग के.
हाँ, उधर ऑनगोइंग था, वर्ड में वो लाइन में ऑनगोइंग वर्ड लिखा था. अब वो वर्ड निकाल के ये सबके लिए एप्लीकेबल.
right now it's resolved. But I agree with you what you are saying. Okay, I am with you. Don't worry.
टेबल F.
We will fight. I and Aditya will fight.
Table F.
Now that they have revised and that is the reason for verification or counter checking this certification they are demanding. So it is required for all the projects.
The time is exceeded, so I will quickly go through this. Yeah, so they are accepting the agreed and accepted by promoter. This is a common point here. Just we will go through form 5.
You want to go ahead with this, right? You open and so you just have to do this. And then I think you are good to go next. Yeah, works.
No, only this thing.
Only this thing.
यहाँ पे एक form है.
अच्छा यहाँ पे एक form है क्या?
इसमें रोल करके क्लिक करना. Yeah. So form 5. See, they are asking these deposits which we have covered, and they have mentioned point number 6, shortfall or excess deposit. Again, they have mentioned the line that has the required proportion of money collected from the allottees of the project units as specified in the act deposited in designated RERA bank account. So whether it is deposited or not, if no, please mention the amount not deposited. So shortfall, they are asking the figure there, and again in line they are asking the how much it is not deposited in the bank account. Then we have withdrawals. This was the table, sub-table, that if the amounts, all the amounts withdrawn during the year were within the withdrawal limit as certified under the relevant forms issued during the reporting period. If no, please provide the details. So we have to mention the period of continuing default. What is the default period? And we have to mention the amount of excess withdrawals in this table. Even in case of utilization, whether it is utilized for the designated project only, or if not, then please provide the details, that is date, amount not utilized for the project. तो यहाँ पे ये दोनों interdependent नहीं है. It is completely whether it is used for the project or not, and you have to mention it accordingly.
So sorry.
Form number 4 is regard. I think
just
we
click
did
it.
not discuss on that. Neither there will be no charter on it.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that on the basis of inspection, this word has been added in form number 4. And it should be as per complete, as per agreement for C.
Yeah.
So these are the two important changes. And now,
क्या किया?
It has been a wonderful session. You have dealt in
Aditya,
detail about form number
which
3
slide
and
was
5.
it? This one?
Yeah.
You want to go ahead?
no, only last slide is remaining. Others are updates which is included in the PPT.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, right from the beginning, whether the certificates needs to be submitted in the bank was a query. In the RERA Act, it is yes. RERA rules were saying also yes. In FAQ, they had mentioned that original copy to be retained and copies to be submitted to the bank. A circular came 2017. It mentioned that only self-declaration to be submitted. But now, with the amended circular number 39, that circular has been deleted. No more requirement as self-declaration, and you have to submit to the bank at the time of every withdrawal and copies online to Mare. And the developer has opted in to withdraw in tranches, and he just have to include the details through by way of letter that I am withdrawing in tranches and so date I have withdrawn this much under the umbrella of particular form 3. So that is the position, and accordingly Maharashtra authority gave a public notice that without accepting the certificate you cannot let the developer to withdraw from the bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya bhai. Since the entire discussion it was on the RERA, and since beginning with the professional opportunities and all the latest judgments and all, actually these sessions we took in a reverse way rather. The first, Ramesh Prabhu sir started asking the questions to the audience. So that way he has saved a lot of his times, because during their both of the discussion they have covered up most of this. I think 17-18 questions were there. So our question answer sessions also they have simultaneously covered in the discussion. Actually speaking, Aditya sir has also touched upon the latest amendments and the forms and all in a very lucid manner. And we thank you very much, Ramesh Prabhu sir and the Aditya sir, for accepting our invitations. And now it's the time to say thanks. So now I would like to invite our Deputy Convener, C.A. Puri Bagaya ji, to formally propose a hearty vote of thanks on the behalf of our JP Nagar District.
Thank you, Jayasri, for giving me this opportunity. Today we had with us C. Ramesh Ji Prabhu and C. Aditya Zante on the topic professional opportunities, compliances, landmark judgments, and latest amendments in RERA. At the outset, I would first like to thank both of them for having accepting our invitation and conducting this session here with us for all our members. They have given a very detailed deliberation on the topic. And the session has become even more relevant for our members because at the outset, he did the efforts of first asking the audience what do they really expect from the session. And rightly so, he has covered, I think, all the queries that were raised, all the concerns raised. I would, starting from the, RERA is a very comparatively new concept. So starting from the inception of the idea of having a real estate law, you have covered the evolution of the law and up to the latest amendments and latest circulars, latest forms, everything you've covered very in a very detailed manner for our members. As also rightly pointed out by the speakers, the RERA is a very nascent stage law. It is evolving every day. Every day, new amendments, new circulars are coming up, and also the new judgments that help into the molding of the law. So thank you, sir, for taking all the judgments in detail with us. Also, we thank you for guiding us on the professional opportunities for chartered accountants, be it consultancy, the networking, the audit, the compliances, and all other areas wherein we can have our new scope of our, functioning. We also thank you for the detailed deliberations on the new forms. In absentia, I would also like to thank our Central Council member, CA Umesh Sharma, and also the representatives of the WIRC team, CA Shweta Jain, CA Ketan Sayas, CA Pinky Keria, and also our past chairman, CA Manish Garia ji, for having taking out their time and gracing the occasion with their presence. I would also like to thank our today's the convener of the study circle, CA Jayasji Thakkar, and today's coordinators, CA Nidhi Lalpuria and CA Ankush Gupta, for organizing today's meeting and for their cooperation. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the members for coming and attending the session and making it very interactive and interesting for all of us. Thank you. Thank you.
अरे